Hello and welcome, I am Abyss from Killjoy Gaming, and today we are talking about my personal rank deck. This is being Bird Up. Now, Bird Up can either go first or second depending on what combo lines you want to go for, but without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. We start with 2 copies of Lyrilless Cobalt Sparrow. If this card is special summoned, you can add 1 level 1 winged beast monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Lyrilless Cobalt Sparrow once per turn. A winged Xyz monster that was summoned using this card on the field as material gains this effect. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. Now, this card is used primarily to prevent your cards from being targeted, which is a wonderful card effect to have on your Xyz. Next, we have Lyrilless Sapphire Swallow. If you control a winged beast monster, you can special summon both this card and 1 level 1 winged beast monster. That would be any card you can. Sometimes it's a Nerval, sometimes it's Wagtail, sometimes it's even Cobalt Sparrow to get its special summon effect. You can only use this effect of Lyrilless Sapphire Swallow once per turn. A winged Xyz monster that was summoned using this card as material gains this effect. If this Xyz summoned, you can target 1 Lyrilless monster in your graveyard and attach it to this card's material. This helps further your plays with Recital Starling to boost things power further, or attack more times with Nightingale, or have more bounces with Ensemble Blue Robin. More on that later. Next, we have 3 copies of Lyrilless Turquoise Warbler. This is your combo starter 95% of the time. If you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is special summoned from the hand, which does not just mean by its effect, you can also use Sapphire Swallow to trigger this effect. You can special summon 1 Lyrilless monster from your hand or graveyard. You can only use this effect of Lyrilless Turquoise Warbler once per turn. It's a great extender and a great starter. You're summoning all the same things, whether it be Sparrow for adding a level 1 winged beast to your hand, Celestial Wagtail, we'll get more on that later. Next, we have 3 copies of Tri-Brigade Nerval. You can banish any number of Beast Warriors, or Winged Beast monsters from your graveyard to special summon 1 Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast Link monster from your extra deck with a link rating equal to the number banished. Also, you can only use Beast Warrior, and Winged Beast monsters as link material for the rest of this turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Tri-Brigade monster from your deck to your hand. You can only, except Tri-Brigade Nerval, of course. You can only use each effect of Tri-Brigade Nerval once per turn. Now, this usually is a combo extender used to get Tri-Brigade Fieldred the Barren Blossom, which has an effect to special summon 1 level 4 Lawyer Winged Beast monster from your hand. More on that later. And then it's used into combo to some more Bird of Sovereigns. Bird of Sovereignty, my bad. I don't know all names, perfect people. Cut me some slack. Next, we have 1 copy of Slower Swallow. If you control 2 or more monsters at the same level, if 2 or more monsters with the same level, this is either you or your opponent, are on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Slower Swallow once per turn this way. You can attribute this card to draw 2 cards instead of 1 for your normal draw during your next draw phase. This is either used as an extra draw on your next turn if you think this game's going to go long. It's great for the grind game. Or you can use it as a combo extender as another level 1 monster to go into one of your rank 1 Xyz. You have a lot of them. Next, we have 3 copies of Lyrilless Barrel Canary. If this card is in your hand, you can target 1 Lyrilless monster in your graveyard, special summon both this card and that monster. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from your extra deck for the rest of this turn, except Xyz monsters. You can only use the effect of Lyrilless Barrel Canary once per turn. A winged Xyz monster that was summoned using this card as material gains this effect. This card gains 200 attack. Also, the control cannot switch. Great for mind control like effects, negating them. But normally, you're using this if you're going second to go for a Assemble Nightingale OTK. Not the only OTK this deck has, but it helps. Next, we're running 3 copies of Lyrilless Celestial Wagtail. If this card is special summoned, you can add 1 Lyrilless Spell or Trap from your deck to your hand. That is either Lyrilless Bird Call if you need an extender, or Bird Sanctuary if you're going for a finisher OTK. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 Lyrilless Xyz monster you control, attach this card as material. You can only use each effective Lyrilless Celestial Wagtail once per turn. This is either going into a turn 1 play to add another material to Ensemble Robin, or a turn 2 play to add another material to Assembled Nightingale for an extra attack. More on that later. Now, we are only running 2 Max C because 3 kind of gets bricky, and you have enough garnets in this deck as it is. Although you can recycle them. So hand traps sometimes can brick, but you know, what decent deck doesn't brick every now and again? During either player's turn, you can send this card from your hand in your graveyard. This turn, each time your opponent special summon a monster, immediately draw 1 card. You can only use 1 Maxi per turn. Next, we have 1 copy of Tri-Brigade Keras. You're usually doing that when Nerval goes to the grave. You're usually adding either this Keras or a Fractal, depending on the situation. You can discard one other Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster to special summon this card from your hand. You can banish any number of Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monsters from your graveyard to special summon 1 Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast Link monster from your extra deck with a link rating equal to the number of banished. Also, you can only use Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monsters as link material for the rest of the turn. You can only use each effective Tri-Brigade Keras once per turn. It's a free special summon if you discard a Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster. Your entire deck's Beast Warrior, and Winged Beast except for the hand traps. So, well, I can't say the entire thing. You do have the Mist Valley lock, which does run a singular Thunder. Next, we have 1 copy of Tri-Brigade Kit. Usually, if you're using Fractal, you're binning Kit and then binning Nerval to add Keras. Now, for Kit's effect, you can banish any. It has the same Tri-Brigade effect. You can banish any number of Beast Warrior, Winged Beast monsters in your graveyard, especially 1 Beast Warrior, Winged Beast Link monster from your extra deck with a link rating equal to the number of banished. You can also only use Beast Warrior, Winged Beast Link material for the rest of this turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can send 1 Tri-Brigade card from your deck to your graveyard. Except Tri-Brigade Kit, you can only use each effective Tri-Brigade Kit once per turn. Like I said, the normal combo is using Fractal's first effect to pitch Kit, using Kit's effect to pitch Nerval, using Nerval's effect to add Keras, if you have to go through the Tri-Brigade line. Next, we have Mist Valley Thunderbird. This card will make much more sense when we get to Mist Valley Apex Avian. Mist Valley Thunderbird. If this face-up card in the field returns to the hand, special summon it, but it cannot attack this turn. This is normally your target for Union Carrier to equip to some more Bird of Sovereignties, which is your bread and butter turn 1 combo. Next, we have 3 Ash Blossom. 1 card is activated that includes any of these effects. Quick effect, you can discard this card and negate the effect. The effects that it can negate are add 1 card from the deck to the hand, special summon a card from the deck, or send a card from the deck to the graveyard. You can only use this effect of Ash Blossom Enjoy a Spring once per turn. More hand traps. Next, we're at Tri-Brigade Fractal, which has 2 effects. You can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard to send 1 level 3 alert Winged Beast monster from your deck to the graveyard. Normally this will be Kit. Sometimes it will be Cobalt Sparrow, if you're really in dire need for targets for Turquoise Warbler. Next, it has the same effect as every other Tri-Brigade. You can banish any number of Beast Warrior, Winged Beast monsters from your graveyard, special summon 1 Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast Link monster from your extra deck with a link rating equal to the number of banished. Also, you can only use Beast Warrior and Winged Beast monsters to link material for the rest of the turn. You can only use each effective Tri-Brigade Fractal once per turn, which is a good majority of your deck. Usually it's for a follow-up play with Shiraga Ominous Omen if you don't have Revolt out. Next, we go into Mist Valley Apex Avian. This is your first. If you're going first, it's almost always your target for Bird, Samoric Bird of Sovereignty, because it puts up this, because usually you've equipped it with Thunderbird with Union Carrier. Now, once per turn, when a card or effect is activated, quick effect, you can target 1 Mist Valley card you control, return to the hand. If you do, negate that activation. If you do, destroy it. This is the Mist Valley lock. It's a once per chain negate. You return Thunderbird activates in hand to special summon. And then you can have another once per chain negate. 1 copy of Nibiru. This is for your 1 copy of Crossed Out. Sometimes it comes up. You can also use it to OTK with Recital Starling. More on that later. But during the main phase, if your opponent normal special summons 5 or more monsters, this turn quick effect, you contribute as many face-up monsters on the field as possible. If you do special summon this card from your hand, then special summon 1 Primal Being token, Rock Light 11 star, attack, defense to your opponent's field. This token's attack and defense becomes the combined original attack and defense of the tribute monsters. You can only use this effect of Nibiru of the Primal Being once per turn. you know, it does. You will see some play with this. It's very interesting. But usually it's just a cross-out target because you play a lot of monsters. Next we have Lyreless Bird Call, one of the targets for Lyreless Celestine Wagtail. Target one Lyreless monster from your... take one Lyreless monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to your graveyard. Almost always it will be adding to your hand, especially one Lyreless monster with a different name from what you added to your hand. You can only activate one Lyreless Bird Call once per turn. It's to get whatever Lyreless you are missing for your combo, even though you can search it out with pretty much with either Recital Starling or Cobalt Sparrow. If you need a further extender, here's your card. 1 Fire Formation Tenki. When this card is activated, you can add 1 level 4 lower Beast Warrior monster to your hand from your deck to your hand. This is almost always to bait out Ashes. Beast Warrior monsters you control get 100 effect. You can only activate 1 Fire Formation Tenki once per turn. Usually this is used in a zoo variant. This can also be replaced for another hand trap. Lyreless Bird Sanctuary. I use both of these effects always off this card, especially when I'm going second, or if I need further plays going first. You can target 2 Wing Beast Xyz monsters you control, attach one of those monsters to the other one as materials, great for Nightingale OTKs, or giving Ensemble Robins more bounces. Again, more on that later when we get to the extra deck. Transfer the materials to that monster. So if you have 3 materials on a Recital Starling and 2 materials on a Nightingale, all 3 materials under the Recital Starling will go under the Nightingale, including the Starling itself, giving your Nightingale 6 materials, so 6 attacks. And then the other effect of this, if you control an Xyz monster with 3 or more materials, you can draw 1 card. Shockingly enough, UDF, Utopic Draco Future, ends with 3 materials, which allows you to draw a card on your first turn if you're going into that, your first turn. Next we have 1 Call about the Grave. Target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish it if you do until the end of the next turn. Its effects are negated, as well as activated effects and effects on the field with the monster with the same original name. Yeah, another crossout target, but it's a great hand trap. I should probably be running more crossout designators, but I don't own more crossout designators. Declare 1 card name. Banish 1 of that card from your main deck if you do negate the effects, as well as activated effects and effects of the field of the card with the same original name. Until the end of this turn, you can only activate 1 crossout designator once per turn. 2 Infinite Impermanence. Target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of this turn. And then if this card was set before the activation on the field at resolution for the rest of the turn, all other spells and traps effects in this column are negated. If you control no cards, you can activate this card from your hand. Great hand trap and great setting card. Finally, we have 1 copy of Brigade Revolt. Special summon any number of Beast Warrior, or Wing Beast monsters that are banished or in your graveyard, but negate their effects. Then immediately after this effect resolves, link summon 1 Tri-Brigade Link monster using only those monsters. You can only activate the effect of Tri-Brigade Revolt once per turn. You're normally always summoning Tri-Brigade Shrag, the Ominous Omen, to banish something on your opponent's turn, or if you need a follow-up play with one of your Tri-Brigade monsters. Now it's for the extra deck. Number F0, Utopic Future. I am not going to bother reading this card's effect because you're only using this to go into Utopic Draco Future. We will get onto his effect when we get to his card. Next, we're running 3 copies of Recital Starling. This is the House Playmaker, with 3 effects that rock house. If this card is Xyz summoned, you can turn 1 face-up monster on the field. This does not include just your own. It gains 300 attack and defense for each material attached to this. Usually it's 2 or 3. Once per turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, add 1 level 1 Wing Beast monster from your deck to your hand. That is all your Lyrilusks and Nerval. And Slower Swallow, too. This is your extender. From your deck to your hand. All battle damage you take from battles involving this Xyz summon card is also inflicted to your opponent. This is your 2nd OTK potential. If your opponent has a gigantic monster, like a Gren mod, you can attack to it to not only make a draw, but if you have the next monster on this list, you can actually win the game. Giant Nibiru tokens are no problem with this deck. Your 2nd OTK card. Lyrilusk, Assembled Nightingale. two plus level 1 monsters. Gains 200 attack for each material attached to it. This card can attack directly. While this card has materials, it can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of materials attached to it. I've gotten this thing to attack up to 10 times in one turn. Then once per turn quick effect, you can detach one material from this card until the end of the turn. Leerless monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect. Also, you take no battle damage. Which means you're doming your opponent when there is a 10,000 Nibiru Pokken, for them only 10,000, not you. Not to mention this card can also attack directly, so you don't have to go into your opponent's problem monsters that float. Next we have F-Zero Utopic Draco Future, UDF. 3 Xyz monsters that rank number monsters. If this card's original rank is always treated as 1. This card always treated as a Utopic Future card. And here's how you're normally summoning. You can also Xyz summon this card by using number F-Zero Utopic Future. You control as materials. Transfer the materials to this card. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a monster quick effect, you can detach one material from this card. You can negate the activation, and then if that monster is on the field, gain control of it. One of your other great turn 1 makers, normally I would go into the Mist Valley lock though. 2 plus level 1 monsters gain 500 attack for each material attached to it. If you want a special summon monster experiencing damage step, you can detach one material from this card, then target one of those special summon monsters, return it to the hand. If this card is in your possession is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card, you can target one of those monsters from your graveyard and add to your hand. Great, because it floats to another playmaker, especially if you get Nibiru'd. Next we have 1 Zeus to further extend plays if we need it. Once per turn, if an Xyz monster battles this turn, you can also Xyz summon Divine Oscillator AA Zeus Sky Thunder. By using 1 Xyz monster, you control the material, transfer the materials to this card, which you can. I've had in a 12 material Zeus. It's wonderful. You can detach 2 materials from this card, send all other cards on the field to the graveyard. Once per turn, if another card you control is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can attach 1 card from your hand, deck, or extra deck to this card as material. I've never used the other effect because by the time this card comes out, the game is already over. Union Carrier, you're always attaching Mist Valley Thunderbird on turn 1, but if this thing survives to turn 2, you can attach any card to an assembled Nightingale to add 1,000 attack to it. 2 monsters of any same type or attribute cannot be used as link material. To turn as a link summon, you can target 1 face-up monster you control, equip 1 monster from your hand or deck with the same original type or attribute. The equipped monster gains 1,000 attack. If you equip a monster from deck, you cannot special summon monsters with that equipped card's name for the rest of this turn. You can only use this effective Union Carrier once per turn. Next we have Tri-Brigade Ferret the Baron Blossom. 2 Beast Warrior or Winged Beast monsters. During your main phase, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower Beast Warrior, Winged Beast monster. Usually you're using whatever you can from your hand to continue your plays. I normally summon a Leerless monster to get Union Carrier out and Apex Avian, because as we'll find out later, this requires a Winged Beast monster, and this is not a Winged Beast. Now for the other effect that's also relevant, you cannot use link material. You cannot use monsters as link material for the rest of this turn except Beast Warrior, Winged Beast monsters, of course. The most of the deck's that. If this card is sent to the graveyard, draw a card. Then place 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. If you draw a Garnet like Mist Valley, Apex Avian, or Thunderbird, you can cycle them back into the deck to summon with some more and have a better card like a Hand Trap in your hand. And you can only use each effect of Tri-Brigade Ferret the Baron Blossom once per turn. I almost never summon this card because it's a brick, so I would replace it with something better, but you know, it's a Tri-Brigade monster. I've actually seen uses for it for going into Union Carrier because it's a fire which synergizes with Fractal, and it's a beast which synergizes with Karas. And Kit. But Kits usually send off a Fractal. You can start... I've never used it for its effect usually though. You can start 2 other cards and target one of your banished level 4 or Beast Warrior, 1 Beast monster special, and then if this card is sent to your graveyard, you can add 1 Tri-Brigade spell or trap from your deck to your hand, and then place 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. Also, you cannot special summon for this turn except Tri-Brigade monsters. That's why I don't use that effect. You can only use each effect of Tri-Brigade Bearbrum, the Rampant Rampager, once per turn. Some more Bird of Sovereignty, part of your bread and butter combo. 2+ monsters, including a Winged Beast monster. Usually I'm using Tri-Brigade Ferret the Baron Blossom and Nerval. Winged Beast monsters you control Your opponent cannot target this card or winged beast monsters this card points to with card effects. Usually it's used to protect any of your winged beast monsters, especially your Apex Avian. Now for how you get the Apex Avian. If this card would be destroyed by battle, you can destroy one other smart card you control instead. I have never used this effect because I don't run another smart card. During the end phase, this is the effect you're always using. You can special summon one winged beast monster from your hand or deck with level equal or lower to the total number of unused spell and trap zones on the field. You can only use this effect as more Bird of Sovereignties once per turn. Remember, Apex Avian is a 7, so your opponent has 5 if they haven't played any extra deck. So you have to keep that in mind. Or any spell and traps, my bad. Usually you can play up to 2 and be safe. Usually one of them is being held by this, so you can usually have one of these face down as well. 2 if you're lucky. Next we have Tri-Brigade Rugal the Silver Sheller. I almost never use it for this effect, but it does have an effect that you can use. It requires 2+ Beast Warrior, Winged Beast, or Beast Monsters. During your opponent's main phase, quick effect, you can special summon one level 4 lower Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast Monster from your hand to the graveyard. From your hand or graveyard, but its effects are negated. Also returns to hand during the end phase. It's great for recycling a nerve ball if you need it. Or if you need one of your extenders and your opponent doesn't get rid of it immediately. I would prefer the nerve ball because they can add a Tri-Brigade monster to your hand. Also, it's a Earth, which synergizes with Curious to go into Union Carry or Fractal because it's a Beast Warrior. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can make all monsters your opponent control currently lose 300 attack for each monster type you control until the end of this turn. You can only use each effect Tri-Brigade Rugal the Silver Sheller once per turn. I almost never used that last effect. Finally, Tri-Brigade Shrug the Ominous Omen. 2+ Beast, Beast Warrior, Winged Beast Monsters. If the card is special summon or another Beast, Beast Warrior, Winged Beast Monster special summon to the field, you can banish one card on the field. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one Beast, Beast Warrior, Winged Beast Monster from your deck to your hand whose level is less than or equal to the number of banished Beast, Beast Warrior, Winged Beast Monsters. You can only use each effect of Tri-Brigade Shrug the Ominous Omen once per turn. I've almost never used this card, as most games end before that. With that out of the way, let's talk about deck costs. This is my most expensive deck out of everything I've shown thus far. This is my ranked bird up deck. The URCP cost is 600. Non-staples. Not including staples, it is 300. SRs is 360. And every SR I run in this deck is non-staple. At least in my opinion. Now rares, you're going to be running about 270 rare CP, and who doesn't have enough rare CP at this point? And finally, normal CP, you're running a whopping 400 normal CP. Again, who doesn't have enough normal CP at this point? Sometimes I think about leaving it out, but it's great to have it. Gives me something else to talk about. Finally, let's get into the games. Since this is my ranked deck, I have pre-recorded or pre-saved some of my highlight reel, which I will be showing you today because I don't feel like waiting for matches. Replays. And let's play the first one. These are all in gold, and these are all against actual decks. This is a full Tri-Brigade hand, which sucks in my opinion, but you know, we're gonna make it work. Starting off with special summoning Curious, I'd rather have Lyrilisks in my hand than I'd really rather have Lyrilisks than... Alright, Baron Blossom drawing me a card. We got a Bird Call, which is great. That's when they decide to throw the Ash, though. We're gonna... I don't have much plays off of this, but we're gonna summon the Apex Avian anyways. And we're fighting against Utopia. Unfortunately, they're gonna make playmakers. Utopia double has quick effects. Adding the double or nothing, at least we stopped him from adding the... But he gets a Dragnar, which is not great. And they still get the rank up, which sucks. Now they're gonna Dragnar, which I've been counting their summons the entire time. But Nibiru's gonna come crashing down. For a majorly massive token on their side. And then he's gonna reduce the attack of my Nibiru to 0, which is sad, unfortunate. Now we're gonna show you the OTK potential of this deck. Deciding to let that go through was his worst mistake though, unfortunately. Now we're going to summon a Recital Starling for that, doing battle damage to both players. I'm gonna search me earlier Lusk Cobalt Sparrow to get another search, adding a slower Swallow. At this point I know the game's over, so I go into my Nightingale, try and equip that. He's gonna call like the Grave, but at this point it's pretty much over. My Nightingale has 3 attacks, and then I can inflict 7,400 to my opponent. So that's a 1 attack from Nightingale, and then 1 Recital Starling hit. And that is game. On to game 2. Now this is a hand I like to see. Although I would have rather summoned a Cobalt Sparrow off this effect, I have not used Barrel Canary's effect, so I can use it later in a turn. I think this is the game I get full combo. Adding the Cobalt Sparrow, using Sapphire Swallow to special summon said Cobalt Sparrow, adding a Celestine Wagtail, normal summoning Nerval, even though none of these cards are staying on the field. I usually don't like to do both of them, but I was going for full combo. I still have 1 Recital Starling left. Token Future, into Draco. There's 1 negate, monster negate. Summoning Farragut. Special summon this Celestine Wagtail to add a bird call to further extend plays because I'm a jerk. Go into my some more Bird of Sovereignty, activating that, that to add a Tri-Brigade card to my hand, adding Keras, of course, drawing a card, shuffling the Playmaker back into my deck surprisingly, because I wanted to draw a card. Ah yes, into a Nibiru once again. We're gonna end there. And the Mist Valley lock is set up. And my opponent isn't even gonna bother to play. Finally, we have a special treat for you. My final match is against Sword Soul Tenyi. Thankfully, I am going first. And then we get to see that not all decks can play through, without hand traps, can play through a once per chain negate. And you get to see me draw a brick. So I'm praying to God they don't negate that. And no. you get to see every single different combo I can make. This deck has flexible combo lines and searchability out the butt. And I'm not even gonna waste my normal summon. Summon that, special summon that, and that. I hate that I banished the Cobalt Sparrow instead of... Because I would have loved to extend plays more with my Cobalt Sparrow on other turns. But you know, beggars can't be choosers sometimes, and I even misplay myself. Adding a Fractal, shuffling back. Drawing a Revolt for once. Go into Union Carrier. This is a slightly weak board, but a once per chain negate is better than no negates at all, and if everything goes south, I can always activate Revolt. And now you get to see the toxicity that this deck can put up. And it's negated. Now they're activating Tenny Spirit of Shuna. And I'm gonna negate it. And it is negated. Now they're gonna activate Adahara. I'm gonna negate it and they're gonna skew. And there you have it. This is my personal rank deck. And I thank you all for watching. And I shall see you next time. Peace.